Today we are discussing about taxes and the taxation, and of course that the issues that surrounding, of course, our taxes. There are a lot of things, of course, that we are to talk about when it comes to the world of taxes. And the studios, I'm so much delighted, of course, to host the country director of SEATINI, that is Madam Jane Ace Nalunga. Good morning.
Good morning, Isaac.
How are you today?
I'm good, and I'm so happy to be here on Record TV.
I'm so humbled to host you. Yes, I greet the viewers who are watching you right now and probably introduce yourself fully to them.
Okay. Good morning, viewers. I'm Jane Nalunga, as Isaac has introduced me. I'm the Executive Director of SEATINI Uganda. SEATINI is a mouthful. It's Southern and Eastern African Trade Information and Negotiations Institute. We have an office here in Uganda, an office in Nairobi, and an office in Zimbabwe. So we work in Eastern and Southern Africa. Although our we are independent. Uganda is independent. The Uganda office, the Kenya office, the Zimbabwe office, but we do collaborate.
I would like to ask you, what does SEATINI do?
SEATINI, we work on issues of broadly on trade, but also on the economy. That's why there is Trade Information and Negotiations Institute. SEATINI, maybe to give a background, it was started in 1996.
Wow.
1996, it was started in 1996 in Zimbabwe. 1996 was a landmark year. In fact, that 1995, that was when the World Trade Organization, WTO, was formed. World Trade Organization. It's based in Geneva. That organization is very, very powerful because all trade laws, national trade laws, have to be compliant to what you have agreed on in Geneva. Most of the, it's a World Trade Organization. Most of the countries are members. So members go there, they sit, they discuss trade issues. And after they have agreed, you come back and implement them at national level. So you have to change your laws. You have to change your laws according to what you have agreed on in Geneva. Your trade and trade-related laws according to what you have agreed on. So, and if you are a member and you have not been able to meet, to participate,
to be part of it physically,
they have what they call a negative consensus. If you are not there, that means you can't say no. That means you have agreed.
So it doesn't matter whether you're there or you have not, but as long as you are something, yes.
As long as you are a member and you are not there to say no, that means you have agreed. It's also by consensus. The moment one member says, I don't want, then
everything else
stops. They can't proceed. So this organization, not so many people know about it, but it's very, very important because your laws, your trade-related laws have to be in line with what you have agreed. Let me give you an example, very vivid example. Today, we are discussing the local content bill.
Yes.
Very, very important. Local content bill, it enables the citizens, the Ugandan companies to be able to supply, Local content bill enforces big companies to source locally, instead of saying they are getting the
materials from outside the country, Africa.
They get them from locally. But what has been agreed on in the WTO is that we poor countries, because Uganda is an LDC, least developed country, one of those countries, they gave us a waiver that poor countries can be able to put in their laws local content bill, the local content policy, to be able to source locally. Other countries are not allowed to do that. And that was a very, very big struggle in Geneva. And our representatives in Geneva were saying, no, if we are to grow our economy, if we are to grow our MSMEs, we need to make sure that these big corporations source locally. You know? So you see, we have a waiver, and that waiver, by the way, is ending this year. So if it ends, the local content bill can't work. You know? So I just wanted to tell you to show you how important that organization was. So in 1996, the people when this organization was formed, some people saw that Africa, we are not ready for such an organization, because our negotiators, people from various ministries of trade, didn't know that you have to negotiate your policies.
They were not well informed about the whole process.
So 2 organizations were formed in Africa. One is SEATINI for Eastern and Southern Africa, and the other organization was Third World Network. It's in West Africa. So they are very prominent people, like, I don't know whether you have heard of Professor Yash Tandon, you know, those were the people who started those 2 organizations. And the purpose was to build the capacity of our negotiators, you know, to be able to negotiate in our interest. Because, Isaac, every time you negotiate wrongly, you are reducing your policy space to be able to put in place policies that work for your people, like the local content bill, you know. So that's how SEATINI was formed, to be able to do that. But today, it was formed in 1996 in Zimbabwe. In Uganda, it was established in 2001. That's the Uganda office. But we have broadened our scope from just trade to trade related. Because, Isaac, you know, everything is tradable.
It's true.
Education is in the marketplace. Food, health, investment is trade related. So when you look at our website, we talk about trade and trade related. Then we also realized that you can't talk about trade, can't talk about investment without talking about fiscal tax. You can't talk about budget. So we also went into fiscal. So we are looking at the entire economic policy spectrum.
SEATINI opting to look at everything related with the economy. And of course, here we cannot run away from talking about taxes, because every country runs under the strength of its taxation policy. For starters, what does a local man who hears about a tax, what should he pick? What is tax? What is a tax?
Isaac, for me, everybody knows tax.
Okay. You assume so?
Solo.
Solo.
And you know, we have a program in Muru, in Guru.
Those northern parts of the country.
Yes, in Arua, the word Musolo.
Is there?
Mucholo. Yes, Mucholo.
They call it Mucholo.
Yes, it's there. You know what they say, that what's definite in life, there are 2 things that are definite: death and tax.
That is so much beautiful.
You
there are 2
can't run
things:
out from them.
death and tax. It's a must.
It's a must.
Now, I would like us to go deep in the context of Uganda. I know very many of Ugandans know about tax. But how does a country like Uganda generate its taxes? How do they?
Okay, let us first, talk about tax. What's tax?
Tax, yes.
Tax is what you pay. What you pay on your profits. You pay to government, and it isn't quid pro quo that I give, you give directly, but indirectly when we pay our taxes from what we earn. pay as you earn a salary. Exactly, you earn a salary, I know. And it's the way you look, it must be. So you pay as you earn. Yeah? You know, so we pay taxes. You pay a piece. You know, you remember the Bible. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. So taxes is what belongs to Caesar. So we pay what belongs to Caesar. And government uses that to be able to provide social services, the schools, the roads, and all that, you know. So that's what happens in governance. So the whole issue of tax, that's why for us in SEATINI, we and other members will have a consortium we call Tax Justice Alliance. We put the word justice. Justice is about fairness. Is it just? Is it fair? Is it equitable? So tax has to be just. And justice means that all of us citizens, because you know what makes you a citizen is paying tax. That's why when you go to a country and you buy, for example, let me give you an example, South Africa. You go and buy your suits, you do shopping. At the airport, you see what they call tax, VAT refund. Is it tax refund?
Yes.
You go there with your receipts.
Yes.
You are not a citizen. You are going out. You know, you need your money back. So what makes us citizens is our tax. And when you pay your tax, you have a contract. That's what we call a social contract. And that's what enables you to demand for accountability, to tell government, by the way, the roads are bad.
Because you pay.
Yes, it gives you that right to be able to hold the government accountable. In fact, for us in SEATINI, that's why we say pay our taxes, but demand for accountability. Because you see, Isaac, the problem today about taxation, and why today we are talking about that you are a taxpayer, it's because our taxes are no longer direct. Most of our taxes are indirect. You remember the graduated tax?
Yes, where old men used to run, they chase you.
And all that. For us, in fact, our position in SEATINI, bring back that tax. Bring back the graduated tax for people to know. For people to know that I'm a taxpayer. Today, you know, when we started working on taxes, because taxes are very important for governance, to ensure people demand for accountability, to ensure that you reduce on corruption. But today people will say, people have eaten money, and people have made money.
Not knowing it's their own money. They don't feel the direct pinch.
That's your money. You know, I was so happy. In fact, I'm not doing a campaign for anybody, but I was so surprised. I went for burial. I lost a relative somewhere deep in Kasanda. That's where my mother is born, deep there. I went there. And one of the members of parliament, Honorable Nsamba, he talked about tax, and he was telling people, you know what, when you buy a soda, on that soda, you are paying a tax of so much. I said, wow, you know, these are the people whom we want, you know, to be able to tell the citizens, you are taxpayer. Demand for accountability. But today, you ask people, do you pay taxes? Says, for me, no.
Yeah, the government, I don't earn a salary.
I don't earn a salary, I'm not paying. So it's important, one, for people to be aware that we pay taxes. I didn't bring some of our brochures, but we do calculate, Isaac, what you pay. We call it a day in a taxpayer's life. That when you wake up on toothpaste, how much do you pay? if you buy a toothpaste of so much, you go and take sugar, how much are you paying on that? You know, so we have been writing those brochures just to educate people and also to make people proud that you are a taxpayer. You are important to this country. In a day you have paid so much, you know, and then it will allow you to demand for accountability for the roads, for the money which has been stolen, for the money which doesn't go to sectors which you feel should be facilitated.
You've traveled countries. We have seen different countries tax in different formats. Do Ugandans pay a lot of taxes as compared to other countries? Because I've had very many Ugandans actually saying, we pay a lot of taxes beyond. We have been taxed on everything, on social media, on ABCD. Do Ugandans, according to you, when you look at the general outlook, do Ugandans pay a lot vis-a-vis what they receive?
You know, yeah. It's good you have added on vis-a-vis what? You know? I think that's where we should start from, vis-a-vis what they earn. You know, taxation and what you pay is relative. But also, when you compare countries like the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, when you look at the literature, they pay a lot of taxes, a lot. In fact, some people say they pay more than 48% or 50, 60 of their incomes. But Scandinavian countries are more egalitarian, you know. The social services are free, housing, you know, the things are moving, the roads are okay. If you don't have a job, you know, you have, they pay you some money. Every child has a child allowance, you know. So they pay, but they also see where their money is going. Uganda, some people say that we don't pay a lot of taxes. In fact, when you look at our tax to GDP ratio, I think now it's 12.5 or 13 around there. Yet other countries, even Rwanda, is it 15? It's more, you know, tax to GDP. So we don't pay a lot of taxes, ideally. No? But also look at even how much we are earning. No? How much we are earning. And the whole issue of the tax to GDP ratio quite slow. It's also because of so many reasons. You know? One, it's also even the tax administration. Do they have the requisite capacity to be able to tax? And that goes into our issue of tax justice. Who is paying and who isn't paying? Because most often, when the systems are not very strong, you know, the tax administration systems, they go for the weak ones.
The weak ones.
They go for the weak ones, the low-hanging fruits. They will go for VAT. VAT is the tax on consumables like sugar, you know, like salt, you know, soap, you know. So you find that Uganda taxes a lot, gets a lot on VAT because it's easy to collect. You know, you just go, you buy, they get that money. Yet, when we talk about tax justice, because in taxes we have progressive and regressive taxes. Regressive taxes are those taxes which are very unfair. Because we said in the beginning, tax justice is paying what is due. You pay according to how much you are earning. But VAT on consumables, Isaac, you are going to pay the same. I don't know whether your grandfather is still around. You pay the same amount of tax in your suit, and where he is in the village, you pay the same tax.
Same taxes.
Is that fair?
It's not fair.
It isn't. You know. So when we are looking at also taxes, it's relative. when you look at our economy. I'm not excusing non-payment of taxes, but there are also those unfairness. There are tax exemptions, big companies are exempted. You hear a company, you are exempted from, you have been given a tax holiday, 25 years. And then you say, really, a big company, 25 years, I have my small salon, I have to pay presumptive tax. The other one has been given a tax holiday, why not me? And that injustice and unfairness breeds non-compliance. People might be able to say, no, I'm not paying. But then also you look at the whole issue of, the poverty, So, like I said, I'm not excusing the tax non-compliance, but there are also mitigating factors which we need to look at. We need to ensure that our taxes are fair, that if I'm paying, Isaac is also paying his fair share, that company is also paying their fair share. And then we need to look at the return on our taxes. When people tell us that, in Scandinavian countries, they pay a lot of taxes. I say if I'm there, I would also pay.
I would also pay with an open heart.
Exactly. Because I'll know I'm taken care of in case of problems. But today, for me, I really feel so bad when you see on your TV stations, on other media houses, people are asking for help. My child has a heart problem. I have no money. Please collect money. But you are a citizen. Yeah. You have been paying taxes. A country which can be able to take care of me, of you, in times of need, I'll pay those taxes. But then also we are talking about the whole issue of unfairness. Take an example of pay as you earn. When you look at our pay as you earn, it starts from 230, around there. You start paying 230. That's less than $100, and you start paying taxes.
200 and what?
30 when it comes to pay as you earn. I think it's 235.
Yes.
Yeah, you start paying taxes, Yet, if government can be able to raise the bar, and maybe you start paying at around 600, because at the end of that day, government will recoup that money back, because somebody has some money for spending, because it's going to be spent.
Exactly.
But now you are squeezing
at the start. So that's why I think we need to have deeper debates around the tax. Let people have a say. But most often, people become excited when they are talking about budget. Budget, who is getting what, where, which ministry?
Which ministry, where. They forget also, where is this cake? Because a budget is like a cake.
True.
Yeah? It's a cake. Who is contributing to this cake?
True.
Who should be contributing, who isn't contributing? You see?
True.
Then we discuss the cake, the ingredients, where is that cake coming from? Then when you know where the cake is coming from, then we divide it better. By the way,
yes.
I like men.
Yes.
You go to these places like garages. You see these men very early in the morning. They bring the very nice breakfast, an egg, katogo, what, And I was asking, but sure, did you buy this at home?
They begin it at the garage, but home nothing.
Nothing. And this man told me, my dear madam, I'm the engine
Aye.
Yeah.
Is the engine of the home.
Yes. It
The
has
engine
to
must.
be, it has to be lubricated.
I love that.
I'm the engine.
I love that.
Then after, then things will move.
Then
And
I will
send
sort
back
home.
So even here, when we are making this cake, what's the engine? Where? You know, I see people when we are discussing the budget. No, the money, this one should go. Why? On what basis are you saying this money should go this way? And that's why I was saying, Isaac, when we are discussing the issues of tax, there is what we call the revenue cycle, you know, how you mobilize resources. That's tax. Mobilize resources from tax, from debt, from grants, you know, how you allocate it. This one goes trillion, goes to state house, to defense, then very little money to agriculture, then to trade even smaller, you know, and then the way you utilize it. That cycle has to, if you don't perfect that cycle, you remain within a vicious cycle of lack of mobilization. Then you go into debt.
You talked about the cycle, and you talked about the cycle of resource mobilization, how a country mobilizes its resources, and you talked about taxes, debts, grants, vis-a-vis the other side of resource utilization, how it allocates, where it allocates to. And you're like, in case the cycle fails to work out, you'll find us actually going for bigger debts that we don't see value in it. Now, I believe that also has a bearing on the side of how the taxes were actually, how the tax laws, how the tax bills are. If you look at the Ugandan taxation system, what are some of the areas that you think would be touched for us to see a country actually have the whole tax policy move in a much more proper pattern?
Okay. There are a number of areas which could be touched on. For example, corporations.
Yes.
Yeah, corporations. Uganda, we have a challenge of thinking that corporations, if you give them all the incentives or the benefits, they are going to provide jobs.
Give you more money, give you jobs.
Exactly. And you know, this also goes back to the theory of change, what you believe in as a country, you know. You know, Isaac, maybe, I think we need time to discuss all these things.
Yes.
For example, in your home, you also have a theory of change, even in your life. That if I go to school, I do this, I do that, I can be able to
earn and be happy.
Be happy. Get a wife, get a house. You know, that's your theory of change. Other people could be able to say, I don't need to go to school.
I need to just do shortcut direct
business, get my money, do that, invest here. That's a theory of change. In Uganda, our theory of change is that if we can be able to put money in investors, give them tax holidays, do this and that, they can be able to give us jobs and then we'll be okay, which is not right. So, for me, I think as a country, we should tax fairly, tax the corporations. Don't give them tax holidays. Investors or investment is not charity. It isn't. They come to do business. And if the bottom line is okay, you know, that bottom line, my profit, they will come. So for me, I think we need to tax them. That's an area. We don't need to give them incentives and tax holidays. So when you look at, we are supposed to discuss issues of the tax amendment bills. You know, after COVID, during COVID, and as you know, COVID battered this economy, all the businesses, everything almost came to a standstill. So government came up with a number of measures, some of them were tax measures, on how they can be able to assist the businesses. In fact, on Monday, we had a press conference. I saw it. You were there, Report TV. We had a press conference, and what we were requesting government and parliament, in fact, to pass those bills, because some of those bills were trying to assist businesses to be able to breathe, to be able to have some breathing space to grow. Some of those bills, for example, there was a measure to defer payment of pay as you earn in some sectors, because also pay as you earn, that means businesses are squeezed. Instead of plowing back that money into business, they have to pay government. So there was a measure that businesses can defer payment of pay as you earn, but deferment you are supposed to pay after, and that measure was supposed to work up to 30 September. Which is done. And this is what we are telling Parliament. It's already done. So we are asking Parliament, for example, when it comes to pay as you earn, please extend it for businesses who want, who want to be able to plow back that money. There was also a measure on waiving interest on tax arrears. Those businesses which had tax arrears, they waive interest on it. You don't pay interest. So, and there was also another one, defer payment of corporate tax and presumptive taxes. So in a way, these bills were important to make sure that businesses, can be able to have some money to inject in their businesses. But these bills, they haven't been passed by Parliament, and we are asking Parliament, really, our businesses are struggling. They were even struggling before COVID. So now they are ailing. They are not struggling.
They're in an ailing state.
They are in an ailing state. So that's why we are calling upon Parliament. But please, Parliament,
do something
before
you actually break off and have another team preparing to come and replace you. Do something for the country,
for the businesses. See, there were also some contentious issues, because yesterday, as you saw in Parliament, they were in fact discussing these issues of taxes. There were some contentious issues. For example, the issue of carrying forward losses by businesses. Today a business can carry forward losses
of last year.
Then then you carry forward. You are not paying taxes because you are not making
the money.
But that it has a challenge in that some big businesses do what they call tax planning. Tax planning. They plan their taxes. All these audit firms, you hear those big ones. They help these businesses to do tax planning. And a business can do losses for 10 years. You are giving a business, you have given them tax holidays, they are not paying income tax, they are not paying VAT, and then they are making losses, they are not employing our people. If they are employing, we have no minimum wage. They are paying poorly. Then at the end of the day, you say, what are we getting out of these people? And then also, we have signed a number of agreements. There is what we call the double taxation treaty. For example, if a company is registered here, registered in Mauritius, and we have an agreement with them, a company will say, no, I'm not paying
from here.
I'm paying from there, but there they don't pay. So it's double non-payment at all, and
I've not known about that one. Double non-payment.
Double non-payment. You don't pay there, you don't pay here, you don't pay. And there are so many ways how big business, multinationals can evade taxes. So for us as SEATINI, we are saying, you can't tell me you are in a business 10 years. you are not making any money, then let us put at least a limit that after 6 years, let us audit. No, let us look and see, why aren't you
actually earning? Why aren't you making the profits?
Making some profit? What's the problem? We are not saying you start paying. No, after 6 years or 5 years, then there has to be a special light on you. That's
to understand.
What we are saying. Because you see, this is how governments lose money.
True.
We have what we call illicit financial flows. But even financial flows, you find a country like Uganda, it's like there is a pipe of money going out. And then we have to borrow. And then, if these corporations are not paying, it's you and me. That's when they will raid VAT, they tax the sugar, they tax the petrol, Then they say, pay as you earn 230. It's because all of us, citizens, all of us as corporations are not paying their fair share. So as citizens, we have to be each other's keeper.
True.
Are you paying your fair share? Because the moment you don't, we burden ourselves. Today, we are borrowing. I think we must have hit the 50% of our GDP.
Because I've not yet declared it was at 49, but now with these recent loans.
But remember, we rebalanced.
Yes.
Rebalanced our economy.
Yeah.
You remember animal farm.
Yes.
So you have more. But the bucket is still the same. But somebody is telling you there is more in that bucket. So we might have hit the 50% of our GDP. When you looked at our budget, the second highest item was debt repay, servicing, servicing. And that's because we can't mobilize our own resources internally, and that's a problem. Today, SEATINI with others, like my brothers in UDN, we are campaigning for debt relief. We are saying we can't pay. We can't pay. Because now we are borrowing to pay.
True.
And True. It's not sustainable.
True.
We can't sustain it. So we need to go back to tax. In fact, all these tax bills, Ugandans, we should be very, very interested when it comes to tax. When it comes to Parliament discussing taxes, what are they saying? In fact, also the Ministry of Finance, they have been very open in the way they deal with their tax proposals. They tell the citizens,
now this is what is on ground.
Yeah, but bring your ideas. Bring your ideas. But people don't. So citizens, please involve yourselves in the tax debate.
Wow.
Because that's what's going to give you the right.
What could be your last remarks to the citizens who have been watching us right from the start? What would be your message to them?
My message to the citizens, you are the taxpayer. You are the taxpayer. You pay taxes every day. Demand for accountability.